Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Big Chill Podcast, The Magic City Situation. So let's start and say hello to the boys. Sam, how's it going?
Yeah, good. Baking in London today, though. How's it going in Phoenix?
Oh, well, it's Tucson, not Phoenix. I would never live in Phoenix.
I'm glad the two of you know each other so well.
I was going to say Arizona, but I wanted to try more specific, but it didn't work. How's Tucson?
No,
Oh, Tucson is a lovely 105 degrees today. I did a nice outdoor workout when it was only 95, so that was quite enjoyable.
What's that in Celsius?
You're going to put me on the spot?
yeah,
Absolutely.
It must be like nearly 40, I guess, or maybe it's over 40.
It's got to be over 40.
Yeah.
Okay, you win. You should win, though.
It's 40.
Yeah, he lives in a desert, so
Yeah, you win. Okay.
no surprise it's warm in the summer.
No humidity. It's a dry heat.
Fun facts about Arizona, ladies and gentlemen.
Eddie, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay. It's hot here too, but not quite that hot. But it's all warming up for the start of the NBA tonight, so
What a transition.
no one has a better segue than me.
What a segue from the weather to the NBA. Yeah, so I think that's probably where we'll start. So we talked last week about some of the American sports coming back, mainly the MLB, and how that's a terrible situation. So now we can talk about two that seem to be more promising in the NBA and the NHL, and hopefully they don't mess up like the MLB has done. So, yeah, why don't you start us off on the NBA? Give us a little rundown.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it starts tonight with 2 games. The second game is the Clippers-Lakers, so that's a huge game in the sense that they're currently the two favorites to win the title. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see in terms like how they get back into the rhythm of
Now,
things.
those aren't exhibition games. These are real games.
These are real games. They've been playing exhibition games for like a little bit
Like
over
a week or two, right?
Yeah. But this is like a regular, because they've had to do this weird wrap up to the regular season. So I think each team is playing 8 games, all the teams that were invited. So it's all the teams who are already in the playoffs and then a couple teams that were right on the fringe. And they're playing a kind of 8-game mini season to get into to finish it off. And then they might have to play a play-in game if 2 teams finish level to see who gets the final playoff spot.
Yeah, and for those, I guess, who haven't followed it too well, we call it that they're in the NBA bubble because they're almost quite literally in a bubble in the worldwide sports complex down in Orlando, where they have literal limits that they can travel to, and they can't go outside in any type of scenario. So, for instance, one of the ones that we've talked about a little before off air is the guy who thought he could order delivery food and live tweeted himself saying like, oh, look, we can order delivery food. And then the NBA saw the tweet and said, no, actually you can't, and put him in like a 10-day quarantine. So,
I mean, he got outdone this week though, because you had Lou Williams who went home to attend a funeral in Atlanta and then decided that he couldn't go back to Atlanta without getting his favorite chicken wings. So he went to Magic City, a strip club, specifically supposedly to get chicken wings because they're the best chicken wings in Atlanta. And someone else took a photo with him and put it on Instagram or Twitter or something. So he got caught. So now has to go into quarantine for 14 days or whatever. And like that's a blow for the Clippers because Lou Williams, like I think he's 3-time 6th man of the year in the NBA. Like he's not some fringe player. So
like that's the punishment.
That's probably what?
That's the punishment. 2 weeks of quarantine.
Well, it's not punishment.
And it also sounds like a cover-up, right? I mean, no one says I'm going to a strip club to get chicken wings, unless they do the inverted commas as they say chicken wings.
Well, he obviously goes there a lot because there's a flavor of chicken wings at this strip club named after him.
So did he? Wait, so did he go to get the Lou Williams chicken wings, or did he go to just get chicken wings in general?
I'm not sure what he ordered specifically. I'm not sure if that came out.
That's so vain as well, right? Like, I only go to where they give me chicken wings with my name. and it just so happens to be a strip club.
Whether there's naked women there or not is not my main concern. It's just whether there's chicken wings with my name on it.
I mean, this seems unbelievable to me, but then I have been reading about like Atlanta strip club culture, and supposedly the food is really good. and, and I don't think that's just people making excuses.
So this
you
also
be one of them, especially.
Well, this is coming from me. I mean, my brother-in-law once said that he used to go to a happy hour after work at a strip club because the happy hour prices were really good and the finger food was amazing.
How much of that sentence was in inverted commas?
None of it. It was all very genuine when he said it. To the extent that he didn't even seem to get what sounded suspicious about it. Like, it was such a genuine comment that he was just like, why is that weird? The prices were great.
It reminds me of the Ron Swanson in Parks and Rec when he's like, strip clubs? No, I don't like strip clubs. I don't like a bunch of women running low-grade figures taking their clothes off. But a free breakfast buffet, that I can do. And then you see him just like flipping the plate, eating all the bacon. It cracks me up. But yeah, no, I think I've also heard about this in Montreal as well, which actually I've been to Montreal, but we didn't go. But I have heard that they have these amazing strip clubs and that they actually have really high quality food because it's such like a fancy strip club that they want to like treat the clientele well. So they have really good food and drinks and things like that, which is just strange.
Yeah, I mean, it's not my world, so I couldn't even begin to comment on it, but it's definitely going to be the dumbest way. Well, actually, I say this. Someone will beat it, but it's definitely the leader right now in the dumbest way to get yourself quarantined and miss several games for your team. I'm sure someone will outdo him, but it will be interesting to see how they pull it off. But yeah, both for just going back to it, I mean, the NBA looks like it will.
Wait, so real quick though, was he allowed to leave for the funeral?
Yeah, so players are getting exemptions to leave for family reasons.
So that was okay, but just the pit stop to the strip club was the downer.
So they're like, yeah, no, because I think they have to follow pretty strict guidelines. So like basically several players have got exemptions to go home for family reasons. Some people have been saying that it's a little bit suspicious sometimes but I mean, I guess otherwise it's pretty difficult to allow someone to go and you just be like, no, you're going to go live here for 4 months. And no matter what happens in your family and your life, you are stuck here. But
almost some sort of like lost on an island kind of thing where you're not even allowed to know what's going on in the outside world until it's over.
But to me, like if you're going to go to a funeral, you're going to be surrounded by people anyway. Was the strip club adding that much more? I mean, if they have the best chicken wings, they're probably a high-end establishment that cleans regularly, right?
Here's all I'll say on that, Frank. Under normal circumstances, where do you think you're more likely to catch something? A funeral or a strip club? Because under normal circumstances, I know where I think I'd be safer.
It depends on what you're defining catch.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to unpack that further because I don't know the answer. The virus doesn't discriminate.
This should be the easiest debate we have for a while. But
whether you're going to get the virus in a granted, clearly high-end chicken wing strip club.
No, hold on. I don't think we know that it was high-end. The food is just good. It's
Eddie, still the food is good. It's got to be high-end.
It's an Atlanta strip club that's named chicken wings after an NBA player. My guess is it's not high-end. I don't want to besmirch the name of Magic City and have like Magic City coming after us as the people who like never been, but it's just trashing the reputation of the gentleman's club or whatever it probably calls itself. But I'm going to guess it's not high-end.
Maybe we have to get one of our listeners who hopefully lives in the Atlanta area and has frequented it to let us know if it's a legitimate high-end gentleman's club.
Or if someone from Magic City ever listens to this, we're open to sponsorship opportunities. I will happily retract all of my previous statements and compliment you for 60 to 90 seconds.
But chicken wings aren't a classy food, right? I'm just hands down here, regardless of the establishment. They're just not
I don't think so. I don't think the Queen regularly has chicken wings.
I guess I would say chicken wings are a bad food to have because you're going to get your hands dirty. But maybe that plays into the gentleman's club thing because, you know, if you can't use your hands, it's a good way to make sure that clientele aren't using their hands by getting dirty chicken wing hands.
Yes, because I'm sure the kind of guy who openly gropes and grabs a stripper is going to be put off by the fact that he's got some sauce on his fingers.
I think the stripper might be more put off, though, by the fact that he's got sauce on his finger.
He's like, normally I would be a total trash bag and grab this girl, but I don't want to smear some sauce on her. Or maybe he's just like, this sauce is so good. No way I'm letting any of this go to waste. I ain't going to lick my fingers clean.
Oh, then she's going to smell like barbecue sauce the rest of her shift. That could be an upgrade.
Hot sauce.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So NBA restart going well, right?
So yes. other than the Magic City situation, the NBA seems to be doing pretty well, right?
Yeah, I mean they had a few positive tests early on, but I think since everyone's gone through the quarantine period and stuff, I don't think they've had any positive tests inside the bubble. So they're just living in a totally self-sufficient environment. So they should be able to finish the season with no hiccups. It's not like baseball.
And how long have they been there so far?
I think nearly a month.
So I guess if people are following the rules, then...
Oh, they didn't have a choice. Like, they put them in a hotel room. They delivered their food to their door. They couldn't leave their room, I think, during their initial quarantine period. So they haven't really given them a choice. They all get tested, I think, once or twice a day. Every time they move into a new section, they scan this little bracelet they've got on so it records where they went.
See, that seems like the right idea, right? The MLB seem to have just got it wrong, but NBA seem to have got it by being like it's almost overcautious, I guess, isn't it? But it makes perfect sense. They're playing like 5 to 7 games a day in the NBA?
Yeah, I mean the thing is with an NBA team, it's easier anyway because the rosters are only like 10 to 15 players. So you're talking about only, a relatively few number of people having to be there, whereas a baseball team would have significantly more players. A football team is going to be impossible to do that because then you're talking about 53 players, maybe even more, because I think they're going to allow them to have a slightly larger roster. So at some point, it just becomes sort of impossible to put all those people into a bubble.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about how the NFL could do it a little better than the NBA, even though they still have to travel, because they can basically go the day before to wherever they need to go right to the practice facility, get into the hotel, sleep, and then go to the stadium for the game, and then play your game, get on your plane, your bus or whatever, and get out of there. It's not like the MLB where they're playing 2-3 games at the same place. So they're going there, playing their game, then going out to dinner, doing whatever they want, and then coming back. Like there's way too much interaction with how baseball's kind of put this together on my perspective. I mean, I think the NFL can really learn a good lesson, and it actually, because baseball is screwing up so much, it makes me hopeful that the NFL can kind of see where they're going wrong, and we can have a good NFL season and not have all the issues, which is, I mean, ultimately, as long as they can play games, I don't care if fans are in the stadium or not. I just want to see the games.
Oh, there's not going to be fans.
No, I know, but, well, yeah, we know that, but there still is a good amount of people who really still think that come January that, like, playoffs could have fans. And I don't see it.
Well, the reason why I don't think they would do that anyway is because if you've played the season without that kind of home field advantage, to suddenly get to the playoffs and say the Chiefs are a home team, and it's like, well, no, now suddenly they've got this boost that throughout the regular season you didn't have. That would be the question. It would kind of just be like you had to start with the rules. You had to end with the rules that you started with. So I think that's the logic behind, even if it were possible to have fans there, I think it would be unfair.
Play it safe, right? I mean, why kind of risk it 4 weeks before the end of the season? You might as well say, right, the season's out, no fans, everything's neutral, everything's, I don't know, are they planning on going to like any stadium, or are they planning on trying it in like 4 or 5? I haven't really kept up on it, but I'm assuming they're going to just go to stadia and do what Frank was saying, in, out, done, move on, wait a week, next game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think all the plans have been finalized because there's so many unknowns at this point. But yeah, I mean, but at least the NBA will get it done.
Yeah, and I mean the NFL, they have so much money too that, I mean, at least I know personally, being in the Giants stadium, they have that hotel basically right next to the stadium, and I'm sure almost every stadium has that they can probably just, for that 2 days, just buy that entire hotel and not let anyone in, or I mean, maybe at this point people have reservations, but they can stop at, like right now, stop that hotel for that day from having any other reservations and just take the top 5 floors or something like that, to kind of limit it as well and be right next to that stadium. I mean, the NFL can do this. Well, they just need to learn where baseball screwed up.
I also saw that the NFL has booked for the Super Bowl in Tampa. They have extended their reservations that they have for the hotel for an additional month, I think. And that's not to keep it unoccupied for safety reasons. That's so if there's a delay in the season for one reason or another, they're in a position still to have the Super Bowl in Tampa.
Wow. That hotel must feel great. So they just have like a free month of booking and have to do nothing.
Well, I don't know the terms. I don't know. They could have a cancellation policy there, Frank, I think. Now, maybe they didn't.
But, I mean how can you have a cancellation policy, right? I mean, it's kind of unfair to say, like, don't book this hotel for a month, and then 2 weeks before it start, actually, you know what? We're good. You can start booking again. You're going to lose so much money.
I mean, for the NFL, that will be such a relatively small amount of money anyway that they're not going to care.
So you brought it up then about kind of this idea of home field advantage if they suddenly brought it in. I'm curious because, not being too knowledgeable on NBA, are any teams going to lose out because they don't have home field advantage? Like, does that really matter in basketball? Are there certain teams where they have such like a kind of Oakland Raiders style following where it's just crazy in the stadium? Like, is it going to matter? Are some teams going to be like more flat because they're not at home?
Yeah, this is actually a great question. This popped up randomly on my thing yesterday on ESPN because I was looking at some of the NHL stuff. NBA and NFL, during the regular season, they have a home field advantage of about 55%. Like 55% of the time, the home team wins. When you take that into playoffs, it jumps up to like 60 to like 65%. So there's like a decent increase from regular season to playoffs playing home field advantage. Whereas hockey,
that's one of those misleading stats.
Because they're the better team, so the better team has home field advantage. I know, I get it. But I'm just saying that there is some sort of home field advantage. And this is a great scenario where we can actually see if that is a misleading stat, because now they won't. The best teams won't have the home field advantage, but if they're still the best teams, they should win anyway. And I agree with you. I think it is misleading.
They've tried to give them an element, right? Because they're playing. So basically what happens with the NBA, I don't know if you've seen the NBA set up for the courts, but it's really cool. It's surrounded by screens. And then the home team controls what goes on those screens and controls what noises come out. So they can do like chants from their fans and stuff. So there will still be an element of the fact that they'll have an atmosphere that feels like they're playing at home. It's obviously not the same, but
will Lou Simmons have control of that?
Yeah, no. Maybe when the Lakers are playing,
listening to Bad Romance.
No, I think it would be more like if it's the NBA Finals and it's Lou Williams, by the way, Lou Simmons.
What did I say? Sorry,
Lou Simmons, I think.
Lou Simmons is one of the best power lifters ever.
Yeah. Well, I'll probably also love strip clubs. Yeah. But if Lou Williams is like taking it's 3 seconds left and he's got a free throw to tie the game, you just flip all of those screens onto like clips from Magic City just to distract him.
Just load of pictures of chicken wings just turn up. That would be the most surreal thing.
But yeah, that will be interesting to see. To me, the weird thing is just going to be to see if teams hit, all these kind of short and compressed seasons. Will it have an impact? Like, it seemed pretty clear that the NBA was probably a 3-horse race before the lockdown. Like, if anyone other than the Clippers, the Lakers, or the Bucks was going to win, it was going to be a huge surprise. And it will be interesting to see if maybe this kind of shortened season makes it seem a little bit more like, even though the playoffs are the same layout, it's just a different feel, if it kind of turns more into like a March Madness vibe.
Has anyone benefited from this? Like, was there anyone that was out like long-term injury that all of a sudden can now play? Like, is there a team that has specifically done pretty well out of the, what is it, like 4-month break? Or
no team, I don't think there were no superstars, because the only one who could have maybe benefited from that was the Brooklyn Nets with Kevin Durant, because he was out hurt. The Clippers kind of have had injury problems all year, so maybe they just feel fresher. That might be a benefit. I guess you could maybe even argue for the Lakers with LeBron James as he's getting older. Maybe the fact that he had a nice, break before he then gets to go into the playoffs. Maybe he gets to hit the playoffs with a fresh feeling body, whereas normally he'd be a little bit tired. But then at the same time, some of the teams have been hurt either by players messing up in the quarantine rules. The Lakers had one of their more important players. I say more important players. It wasn't, a regular starter in Avery Bradley, who decided he didn't want to take the risk. So he opted out of coming back. And that's becoming a huge problem in the NFL.
Yeah.
Where, like several members of the Patriots defense have opted out.
Chung opted out today, right?
Yeah. I know that there's this conspiracy theory. I mean, it shows the kind of aura surrounding Belichick, that this is like Belichick's way of manipulating the cap so that he's going to be able to bring in players that they really need, and that the Patriots are going to be better for the fact that players have opted out. But it's going to be interesting to see I think the deadline for that is August 3rd or August 4th or something. NFL players have to opt out before then to get the opt-out, the $110,000 or whatever it is. But it'll be interesting to see if more and more players do decide that it's not worth it.
Yeah, I saw Nate Solder, the offensive tackle for the Giants, opted out, and he had a questionable tenure so far with the Giants, and people were just ripping into him on Instagram. And then you find out that the reason he opted out is because his child has cancer, so he's very high risk. And it was like, yeah, you definitely just shot yourself in the foot being the asshole on Instagram right there.
Are you saying that people on the internet weren't very nice?
You know what he's saying.
Whoa, breaking news. No, I mean, that's right. Aside from your child having cancer, I think just knowing how terrible the Giants are going to be this year is reason enough to opt out.
He doesn't want to be the reason that Daniel Jones throws 60 picks. But it's going to happen regardless.
Yeah, no, Daniel Jones is on a one-man mission he saw Winston last year, and he was like, I can do the 30 picks. I can't do the 30 touchdown passes, but I can do the 30 picks. If I get 60 picks, is it just as impressive?
Yeah, am I doubling down?
I can't wait till he proves everyone wrong. It's going to be so great. And he still won't be worth the pick he was at.
If Daniel Jones,
get into that another day.
If Daniel Jones has a reasonably decent season, I'll have an episode of this podcast where I just mute myself for an entire episode.
All right, Daniel. Challenge accepted.
Hope he's a big listener. Ready to prove you wrong.
I broke down the analytics from episode 1, and I saw some guy listening from the Giants facilities, and I knew it was him.
So my question for the NBA is, what are they? So they're playing like 6 or 8 games, right, to finish the season?
I believe they're all playing 8 regular season games, every team.
But then all those teams aren't making the playoffs then. So some are leaving.
Yeah, some are done.
How shitty would that be? How shitty would that be to be in that bubble for like 2 months, play 6 games, and be like, all right, you didn't make it. Sorry. Oh, that would suck.
I mean, you kind of know.
Surely the enjoyment of being in the NBA and continuing to play would be enough, right?
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
Or
unless you're a shitty player.
Yeah, unless you're like a mercenary, I guess.
Okay, what about then if you're someone on the staff of one of those teams? You're not making very much money. Like you're like third manager, You have to leave your family and all your friends for 2 months, sit in this bubble, and then instantly be gone for losing for nothing.
I mean, you're assuming that these people don't like people that they work with. If you have friends, you've got to go to a summer camp for a few weeks. I mean, it's not, I think sometimes, like, I'm not implying that it's really easy, and I'm sure for people with families and things, like, it's not been ideal, but, sometimes we're treating it as if they were sent somewhere awful, and they got sent to a resort with a golf course and, like, a big lake to go fishing on and ride jet skis. It's not been, they weren't sent to some like Navy SEALs boot camp.
All right, then, Sam, let me ask you, would you spend 2 months with your coworkers in a bubble? Let me put you on the spot.
Okay.
No,
First and foremost,
let me rephrase this, Sam. Okay. Would you spend 2 months locked up with a bunch of athletic men?
Okay. Let's ignore everything first. Surely in the
Both
NBA,
scenarios.
We'll get to that later. Surely NBA players, team coaches, managers are used to it, because isn't travel just massively part and parcel of the NBA life?
Yeah,
so being locked up
you
for
usually
like 2 months
isn't
so different.
You wouldn't go 4 months without seeing your family.
No, but I thought families were allowed in after a certain amount of time, right?
They're allowed in at a certain stage in the playoffs. I don't know which round it is, but it's basically once there are fewer people there and they've freed up space and the risk is lower, they're going to allow families in.
I think they're used to it, right? I think this is a pretty traveling scenario. I'd like to say that they're used to it.
No,
let's say 8 weeks.
Whether they're used to it or not, I just don't think it's that hard.
Especially where they are, like Eddie said, they're not exactly sat in some sort of like Gitmo Bay kind of scenario. Like, this is terrible. Like, they're sat in a very nice place, but also it's not like they're not being looked after either. They're, like you say, meals to the doors. They've got amenities. They're actually playing a sport that they love as well. It doesn't exactly sound like it's the worst scenario.
They might love it, or they might have just been born 7 foot tall and been like, you know what, this is what I'm going to do.
Is there someone 7 foot tall?
Yeah.
Really?
In the world? Yes.
Not in the world.
In the NBA?
I mean, in the NBA?
Yes.
What's the tallest person in the NBA?
7'4", I think.
Okay. Wow.
What is the? I can't think of his name right now. He played for USF last year and was drafted. USF, right? Southern Florida. He was a really, really big guy.
Don't know.
I'm gonna have to look it up now. I'll get back to you, but he was definitely over 7 foot, Sam.
I mean, there's several players, and like 7 foot does not make you a sort of freak by NBA standards. Yeah, not implying that 7 foot tall people are freaks in places other than the NBA, but there are dozens of players in and around 7 foot.
I don't think I've seen anyone in my life above 6'4".
That's impossible. That's impossible.
It's not like I'm struggling to think. Like, I remember every moment of my life.
I've been with you when we've seen people over 6'4".
Taco Fall. That's who I was thinking of.
Okay, the guy
he's
on the
Celtics.
7'6".
Yeah, he's 7'6". He's the tallest in the NBA.
7'6". So what's that, like just under 2.5 meters?
It's
basically 7.5 feet.
Right, I'm aware. The giveaway was the first metric he used.
But no, we'll see. The game tonight's going to be really good, and then it's going to be interesting to watch the playoffs unfold. If the playoffs themselves, I guess, probably won't. If everything kind of goes the way it should, the playoffs probably won't be interesting, and really interesting until the Western Conference Finals. I mean, if it's Lakers Clippers in the Western Conference Finals, that's a really good series.
Yeah. So I guess we can switch a little bit into hockey, and I'll kind of just give a little bit of what's going on there. I know.
Yeah, if you could keep this
not too exciting.
Keep this really short. In actual fact, if anyone does want to advertise on the podcast, we can just let Frank keep talking, and I'll just layer over an ad.
Well, I will say Hockey playoffs are fun to watch. Even if you're not a huge fan of hockey, it is super intense. Like the level that they bump up from regular season to playoffs. I mean, they still play hard in the regular season, but playoffs is just they're just on a mission. It's really fun to watch, I think. So basically what they did similar to what the NBA did, except they're not doing any regular season play-ins. They just took extra teams and expanded the playoff. So they took the top 4 of each conference and gave them kind of a bye, and then took the bottom 8 of each and gave them like a round, a best of 5 series to play into like the real playoffs, basically. So this is kind of like a pre-playoffs almost. So it's cool because you get teams that were on the bubble that probably weren't going to make it that make it now. So you can get some more fans involved, I think. And what's actually really cool is they did the NHL lottery for the number 1 draft pick, and the number 1 pick, because it's that lottery system of like the percentages, it actually came out that the first pick is going to be one of the teams that loses in that first round. So like you could go and play, and if you lose, you think it's the end of the world, but then out of nowhere you can get the number 1 pick, which is pretty nice. So that kind of adds some intrigue to it. But I mean, I think it'd be pretty cool. They're doing it in 2 cities, Toronto and Edmonton, which I think people were thinking about doing it in America, and I don't know why you would choose somewhere in the States when you have a place like Toronto that has like 24 rinks that they can play at and do their practices and stuff if they wanted to, and the same with Edmonton. So I think that was a smarter choice.
Well, also yeah, I think not quite the same. I'm
level of
far
COVID.
More cases in the U.S. too. So why would you put yourself in a high risk spot?
Exactly, and they were talking already that like, I think it's way better to do than to risk that. So yeah, the reason I had looked up this home field advantage thing that Sam you were talking about before is, do you think so? Both Toronto Maple Leafs and Edmonton Oilers are both in the playoffs. So they're playing in their hometown. Do you think that gives them an advantage even without fans, that they're in their hometown? Because they're not like the NBA. It's not an official bubble. Like they can leave, go to their hotel, go to the rink. They can go to restaurants that are like designated. Do you think just being in your home city, even though the fans can't be there, does that give you an advantage at all, you think?
I would say maybe really slightly, that the additional level of comfort maybe helps. But then what percentage of the NHL is Canadian anyway? So for what percentage of people playing on other teams is this basically them going back to where they live in the off season?
Yeah, I mean, especially Toronto. Edmonton, I would say not so many people outside of people who play in Edmonton or Calgary probably live there, but I would say a strong amount of people live in Toronto or the greater area. So, I mean, why wouldn't you? It's the greatest city in North America, but
we'll park that one. But like in soccer, like a kind of European football, it sometimes is less to do. Sometimes it's more to do with like the changing room vibe and stuff like that when you're in your home. So I guess when Eddie said about the comfort, if you know your own surroundings, you know exactly, even just down to the detail of like your walk-in in the morning and stuff like that. So, but the thing is, Toronto won't be in the home dressing room every time, right? So in some strange scenario, their routine would maybe like more messed up because they're in a home place, but yet they're not the home team. So I think routines matter. And okay, this might sound like the stupidest thing, so obviously correct me, but I'm very doubtful that things like the temperature of the rink and stuff like that is a thing. So I'm guessing it's down to comfort.
Actually, right? You're wrong there, because the rink in Edmonton, they keep the rink at like 115 degrees. You'd think the ice would melt, but somehow it doesn't. So they really crank it up, and it really gives the home team a huge advantage because they're just used to it.
I would say probably not anymore. I would say 20, 30 years ago, people used to say that certain rinks had, like certain things that were specific to that rink, like a little bump in a certain spot or something like that, that a home team obviously knew about and other teams didn't. Like I would assume something similar happens in football on the pitch, that, not all pitches are absolutely perfect. But
Well, football's a whole different level because there's no fixed dimensions of the pitch. So you can go to one pitch and it's huge and
yeah,
wide, and
that's
you go
true
to
too.
another one. You go to another one. Obviously they have like minimum and maximum dimensions, but there can be a pretty big difference between one to the other, and then how long the grass is changes, and then it's more like Sam touched on too. It's just the conditions, like that they don't have to provide the same dressing rooms for each team. So the away team could be in a very bare, basic dressing room, and the home team has, this luxurious space that they get to be in, and that's kind of one of the big differences too.
And they don't get that, right? Because they're just hosting as opposed to being the home team constantly throughout, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah. I suppose when you're designated as the road team, you're having to go to what would normally be the visiting team's changing rooms, I would guess.
Yeah, I mean, because that would actually create an unfair advantage if Toronto could be in their home dressing room all the time, because it's obviously going to be bigger and more comfortable, right? So that would create an unfair. So I'm sure they definitely do. But yeah, so I mean, it starts. The other really neat thing is it starts Saturday, and it's all day of hockey. It's like 9 a.m. for me at least. It's 9 a.m., 11 a.m., 1 p.m., 3 p.m., 5 p.m., 7, 9. Like there's 5 games. I just listed off like 7 times, but there's 5 games. So it'll cover the whole day, which is really
your command
which
of the
really
clock
neat.
is fantastic, Frank.
Yeah. What's that, Eddie?
I said we can definitely confirm there is a game at 9 a.m. This much was drilled home into everyone. As long as you're in the same time zone as Frank, because if you're in a different time zone, there may not be a game at 9 a.m.
There's most likely not, unless you're in my time zone.
Yeah, take your pick.
But I won't bother running through all the things. I will say I did put in a bet for 4 teams to win the series, and that was the Penguins over the Canadiens. I think that should be pretty straightforward. The Oilers over the Blackhawks, which is going to be an awesome game. The Oilers obviously have, the 2 best scorers in the league right now, and then the Blackhawks have 2 of the older best scorers in Kane and Taves, who used to be kind of what Draisaitl and them were. So I think it's going to be really cool. And then I took the Rangers over the Hurricanes, and then the Leafs over Columbus, and that gives you about an 8-1. So I think that's pretty safe.
That's thrilling for our listeners who haven't fallen asleep during this conversation. That is a tip that they're going to be able to take advantage of.
Or if they only focus on the decimals of gambling.
Yeah, exactly. We can try and add in the description. I'll just add a little like time mark where we can be like, just skip these periods.
Think of all the advertising space we got there.
Oh yeah, we're gonna make millions. That was like 5 minutes of advertising space available.
We will find the Atlanta Strip Bar, and that will be a 3-minute.
Yeah, Magic City. If you want to sponsor us, I will just read out your entire menu, and that would have been more interesting than that NHL discussion.
Brutal.
Well, it's not my fault. It's not my fault you don't watch the best sports to watch.
Ouch. Okay. What now?
But yeah, so what else we got to talk about? FA Cup. Do we want to give that a shout out?
Yeah, we can do a quick preview. Obviously, the FA Cup finals on Saturday. It's Chelsea Arsenal, it's maybe not the final everyone thought it would be going into the semifinals. I think everyone sort of had penciled in City, but maybe this is arguably more interesting because it's a more even match on paper. I mean, Chelsea are slight favorites, but both of these teams have had their unpredictable moments in the season. So they've had moments where they've looked great, and they've had moments where they've looked pretty average. So difficult one to have a strong opinion on one way or the other. I would say, with a gun to my head, I'd pick Chelsea, but I wouldn't feel that happy about it.
Yeah, for me, I'm going Arsenal just because I think Chelsea have now got Europe, and this is Arsenal's
Sam,
only.
Is it because you're an Arsenal supporter?
Potentially, but think Arsenal have more to get from this, right? They're not in Europe right now. This is their only route in, but also that matters for things like keeping Aubameyang. I think it matters for people like Arteta when they're trying to make their mark on things. And I just think it matters more. And also, I do think Arsenal are improving under Arteta. I think there's a feeling that they can soak up a bit more pressure than they used to. I think there's a feeling that they can counterattack really well. And what they did against Man City was exactly how I think they should play against Chelsea. They should try and soak it up and find their opportunities. They won't. When you look back on paper, if Arsenal win this FA Cup, all the stats will be in favour of Chelsea. But I just think Arsenal have more to get from it. So I'm not saying they won't be. Chelsea won't be motivated for it. Of course they will. But yeah,
I like it. Episode one, you implied that some athletes don't care sometimes. What was it with some jockeys sometimes just aren't motivated for races? Now you're implying that sometimes footballers aren't motivated for major cup finals.
Putting words in my mouth, but fine. All right, we're going to go with that logic. But for me, I've got Arsenal probably edging this. Maybe like I'm going to go like 2-1. I think Chelsea will score, but I think Arsenal will counter well. What about you? You said Chelsea edging it, but he got a score. You got like a kind of 1-0, kind of bit of a boring game. Are you seeing a good game, but a couple of goals in it?
I don't think it's going to be the most exciting match ever. I'm not sort of eagerly anticipating the match itself, but yeah, I'd pick Chelsea. If I had to pick a score, I'll go 3-1 Chelsea.
Okay. Frank, you got any
well, I was going to ask
perspectives?
Does this normally happen before the end of the Premier League, or is it always after?
No, it's always just after the end of the season.
It is
it's the same, yeah.
It might even be like the weekend after. I think it would like 2 weekends after, maybe. Yeah.
Because I guess my question was going to be kind of what Sam addressed, is not that the teams obviously don't care, but which team is this more important for? I mean, because like when you look at, if it were City in there, does City really care about winning this year's FA Cup that much? Whereas, is there something on the line for another team? And, maybe there is more, I guess, on the line for Arsenal.
Yeah, there's a place there is more. But I think fundamentally for both managers, you're talking about two managers in the early stages of their managerial careers. So putting an FA Cup on their resume from a managerial standpoint is huge. And I think for Chelsea, what I would almost argue is it's more important for Chelsea in a weird way. Because for Arsenal, even if they win the FA Cup, the season is a failure. For Chelsea, if you had gone into this year and said you finish in the top 4 and you win the FA Cup, they probably would have said that's a successful season. In the context of how far behind City and Liverpool we are, that's a success. So to me, in a weird way, Chelsea have the ability to really make it a good season, and that might be slightly more motivating for them. But I don't think that's going to change anything in terms of how dedicated either sets of players are.
Yeah. I think Arsenal get the record, right? If they win this, I think they become the most kind of decorated FA Cup finalists. I guess they've won it the most, but they've also been in the most finals as well. I think that matters. The last time they won it was against Chelsea, right? And Chelsea were that kind of I remember being at that game actually, and they were favourites going into it, Chelsea, and Arsenal just played a better game. I think there was like a sending off for Chelsea in like the 70th minute as well, which kind of ended it as a contest a bit. But I don't know. I think I wouldn't call Arsenal's season a failure. Yes, it is a failure, but I call it. You can rationalise the failure if that makes sense. Like I think as long as Arsenal realise that, or Arsenal fans, because we've seen how terrible Arsenal TV is, but as long as the fans realise that there's a rationale behind the failure, I think winning the FA Cup would go a long way to plastering up that failure. I think is probably the way I'd put it.
Speaking of Arsenal TV, do you think if we just moronically yelled stuff into our microphones and got angry over everything, that this podcast will take off in the same way that they have?
There was the Arsenal one recently where they gave the 4 of them and they were sat in that really awkward COVID scenario where there's like 4 chairs and they're 2 meters apart and they're screaming at this Arsenal goal. And then someone equalizes like 30 seconds later. I can't even remember who. It was in the league. It was Spurs, maybe actually it was the Arsenal Spurs game, and
when
just,
on the sort of back pass or whatever.
yeah,
Son
watching their
intercepted.
reactions just defines how bad that Arsenal TV is, and yeah, it's hilarious watching them. Like Arsenal fans are the
Well, it's not even that. It's just that Arsenal TV kind of figured out the game plan to becoming successful on the internet, but which is also why the internet is awful.
screaming a lot.
Yeah, that you can't have a rational reaction to anything because that's dull. So the only way they can be successful is just either they're the best team in the world or they're the worst team in the world. Either this player is the next Thierry Henry or he's the next Francis Jeffers. There's there's nothing in between. A player can just be sort of decent enough for us and we can do better, but at the moment he should play. It's been like, he should never play for us again. They're awful, sack the manager, all that. And if you're not saying that, no one listens to you.
Yeah, they're very absolutist, aren't they, in that respect? Francis Jeffers, what a fantastic reference. The old fox in the box. Terrible signing. Everything about it was terrible. But for me, Arsenal edge it. I think there's more on the line for them.
We'll see.
I'll pull out the American card. I'll say Chelsea and Pulisic to score.
First, you have to learn how to say his name.
That's how I'm saying it. You know
that
how
was such
I
an
pronounce
American.
names.
That was such an American response to that as well. Like, screw you! I'm calling it what I see it, and this is what it is.
I have quite a unique way to say some professional athlete names.
This is that much is true. That will be the truest thing you say all night.
So we can get into the Goodwood results. Before we do that, since we're kind of talking in some of the major sports, I'm going to do a little top 5 for Eddie to see if he can guess these. So this was yesterday. This was announced. It's the top players in the NFL as voted by the players. So these should be the people that have the best judge of who the best player is because they're playing against them. If they play against them, I guess that could be a bias if they're picking people that are outside of their conference and they've never actually played.
Just interjecting, do you mean at the moment? Like people that are playing
at
right
the moment,
now in
at
the
the
roster?
moment.
Okay.
And I think in actual fact, it's not totally clear, but I think it's pro bowlers who vote. It's not the entire league. They have some selection process. They don't, because they do it every year, I think, but it's not the entire league. I don't know what the rule is, but it's not everyone.
Okay, so we'll start with number 7, Eddie. Who do you think number 7 on the list was?
What an easy one. What an easy. Come on, Eddie. What's
number
the
7th? No. So 7's cheating because 7 is the only one I know because 7, I believe, is George Kittle. And the only reason I know that is because I follow him on Instagram and he posted about it. And he's the only one I've seen from the list, apart from the top 10, because I saw throughout, because they were gradually releasing them. I didn't see the top 10 release. But
so let's start with
my question before
okay, we gave you an easy one to start with. What's the 6th?
No. My question before we go on: how angry is this list going to make me?
That's going to give it away a little. It will make you, I think, slightly to very angry.
Okay, yeah, that's a pretty big clue.
Okay, now do you want me to say, just give me your top 5, or do you want me to say who's number 1? Do you think?
That's a good way.
Try and give me the numbers. I'll try and do the numbers, I guess.
Okay, let's just start. Who's number 1?
Well, you've said it's going to make me slightly to very angry, so it's not Mahomes. Because Mahomes is the obvious one. I'm assuming
Mahomes is the correct one. Let's be real here.
No, here's the other issue. I don't know when they voted on it. Because they may have voted on it pre-Super Bowl. So if you voted on it, if you even maybe they voted on it mid-season, and in which case,
I would say it had to have been. I'm going to say it has to have been at least the end of the regular season. If you say Pro Bowl, then that's right before the Super Bowl. Let's go with that.
Yeah, because Lamar Jackson won the MVP, didn't he? So I'm going to say Lamar Jackson because that's going to anger me, but I can also see why they would choose Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson is the number 1 top player in the NFL as voted by the players.
I mean, yeah, I don't know what to say to that.
No, thoughts? Come on.
Well, I mean, look, he's he's a good player, but to say he's the number one player, to say he's better than Mahomes, like if we redrafted the entire league, there's no universe in which Lamar Jackson gets chosen. In which Lamar Jackson gets chosen over Mahomes. Just doesn't happen. No way.
I agree. Okay. Who is number 2?
Is it Mahomes?
Patrick Mahomes is not the number 2 best player in the NFL.
Can you tell me
is this going to be a very annoying one?
Is it a quarterback?
It is a quarterback. I will say I get the feeling that he is like the players' champion. Like players love him.
Yeah.
So it's pretty easy.
Okay. I mean, I'm going to guess if it's not Mahomes and it's a quarterback, I'd guess Russell Wilson.
Exactly. Yep, Russell Wilson. Not bad. Not better than Mahomes.
No.
Okay. Who is the number 3 best player in the NFL as voted by the players?
Is it Mahomes?
It is not Patrick Mahomes.
Wow.
Is it another quarterback?
No.
Can you tell me the position he plays?
I'll give it away by even saying this. It's defense.
Is it Donald?
Yeah, Aaron Donald. Which, respectable. If you're going to have a defensive player,
you could almost tell me. Look, if you told me that if Donald was number 1, I wouldn't have said that was ridiculous. The fact that you can have anyone playing the quarterback position above Mahomes right now, that like Mahomes had to be the number 1 quarterback. If you wanted to argue that Donald is more like is a sort of more dominating player in his position than Mahomes is a quarterback, it's probably a difficult one to argue, but I could at least accept that.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. All right. Who is the number 4 top player in the NFL as voted by the players?
Is it Mahomes?
It is Mahomes.
Oh, Eddie, how'd you get that one?
Well, it's just, just for our, when in doubt, just keep picking the same thing over and over again, and sooner or later you're going to be right.
That's how you won Mastermind, right?
Oh, yeah, on Mastermind, I just say, yeah. Is it Tony Blair? No.
Patrick Mahomes is the 4th best player. Is an insane. It's just it blows my mind. Yeah, After watching him week in and week out, I mean, it's crazy.
I would have disagreed with it before the playoffs, but I can get if this was voted on before the playoffs, and you just made the argument that in the system in which Mahomes plays and with the weapons that he has around him, I could understand not putting him number 1.
So wait, so that means what you would say is you would take Russell Wilson if you drafted a team over Mahomes?
No, I wouldn't. No. Mahomes would be my number 1 pick. Any team, any franchise, any system. That's also mildly based on age, right? I mean, I think you couldn't take in an actual draft. You couldn't take a defensive player. You have to take a quarterback because the length of their career is one of the longer ones.
This is a 1-year draft just for next year. Right? I mean, because this is basically what this is saying is it's who's the best player of that year. So let's just say you're drafting them for 1 year.
Okay, I'd still take Mahomes.
You're still taking Mahomes. Like I don't get
how
I
would think harder. I'd think harder about it if it's just for 1 year.
It's crazy to me. I mean, I don't know. He was not happy. I can't imagine he was happy. And you know what? He looked at his bank account and he probably didn't give a shit anymore.
Well, hey, he also was like, okay, you voted me number 4, but this week I became a part owner of the Kansas City Royals, so.
And then they bumped him down to 6th.
Yeah, and then I took the COVID payout.
In fairness, I want to know what percentage of the Royals he owns, because that's such a good move by the Royals. It's also such a good move in trying to I know he signed the 10-year deal, but there's opt-outs within that, right? So
he's a man of the city.
It's such a good way. If I were, when LeBron was playing for Cleveland, they should have given him a percentage of the Indians. Just so it's like, this is one more reason why you have to hang around. We've given you 0.001% of this team, but now you're a part owner.
Out of context, we need to probably caveat that, right?
Yes, no, yes, I meant the Cleveland Indians baseball. I didn't mean a percentage of every Native American casino.
Do you mean the Cleveland Indians or the Cleveland baseball team?
The soon-to-be Cleveland Baseball Club.
All right, to round it out, Eddie, who is the top 5 player? It is not Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. Is he a quarterback?
It is an offensive non-quarterback position.
So I know Kittle's 7, so I'm going to assume it's not a tight end, because if they put another tight end above Kittle, that's just as bad as not having Mahomes above Lamar Jackson.
There's a wry smile there. I'm starting to bluff Frank here and say go with the tight end. This is meant to slightly annoy you.
I'm going to say
it's not Kelsey. It's not Kelsey.
Yeah. I'm going to say it's a wide receiver.
You are correct.
So then it's down to, I guess,
do you
in my
get
mind,
the right one?
It's down to 2 in my mind. It's down to
either. I'll preface this by saying in the top 10, there's only 2 receivers.
So if I had to guess who the 2 receivers in the top 10 were, I would guess, and this is not the order in which I necessarily think they'll appear, but I would guess it's Hill and Thomas.
Michael Thomas is. Tyreek Hill is not.
Okay, then I'll guess Thomas is 5th.
Thomas is 5th.
Who's the other receiver in the top 10?
DeAndre Hopkins.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't knock DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, he's a machine.
No.
And he's playing with shit quarterbacks.
Yeah. I mean, the Texans obviously don't think so. The Texans obviously did not vote for him as a top 10 player in the league. That's all we can say.
Yep. And then real quick, just one more. Who was the first running back? It's number 6. So who do you think it was? Sadly, it is not Saquon Barkley.
It's not Barkley.
Go with Madden.
Go with Madden?
He's the top-rated Madden running back this year.
I can't remember seeing. I'm not in NFL mode in my brain, so this is tough to try and think of, because I would.
Eddie, I'm rooting for you.
Oh, dual threat.
It's McCaffrey.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, it should be Barkley, but otherwise it makes sense.
You would have even argued to me again, if McCaffrey had been number 1, I would have been less upset.
Yeah, as long as Mahomes was the first QB.
Yeah, Mahomes had to be the first QB, but
exactly.
But yeah, if McCaffrey had been number 1, I could have accepted that. And you could tell me if I am putting together a team for 1 year that I maybe consider McCaffrey as my number 1 pick. It's possible.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. Yeah, so that's all I had for the top 5. Maybe we make it a segment. Maybe we make it Frank's top 5 of the week. This would be everything in my life I've been shooting for, is to have my own podcast syndicated top 5.
All right, we'll do this. We'll do Frank's top 5.
All right, just to let you know, Magic City, this is sponsorship material as well.
Exactly. Yeah, if anyone wants to sponsor this, if in the future we could have Frank's top 5 brought to you by Magic City, start out maybe. You send us some of the wings to try out. We rank top 5, the best wings at Magic City. That could happen.
I've been preparing for this for my entire life. I've been walking around randomly quizzing people what their top 5s in anything is.
Wait, the idea of Frank, sending wings? Sending wings.
Yeah, I mean, they'd be delicious by the time they got to Europe. But Frank, give me your top 5 Rocky movies in order.
I am actually not the biggest Rocky fan.
But just 1 to 5, yeah, in order chronology.
No, definitely. It would definitely be 1 and 4, and then after that, it would kind of just trail off. I mean, I've seen 1, and I've seen 4 a good amount of times, but after that, I don't think I've seen 2 and 3 very much. And actually,
I mean, I'm just
does
going to disagree with you there. If you've seen all of the Rockies multiple times, you're a pretty big fan of the Rocky franchise.
no, but I mean, like Rocky 1 and Rocky 4 are on TV a lot. I'm
You
not
don't
saying I
have-
sit
you
down
don't
and
have
watch
to
them
wa-
from start to
You
finish.
don't have to watch it, Frank.
I mean, if it's on, you put it on for 20 minutes. Get to see the training scene in Rocky
Is that-
4.
Okay, so better question here. Do you put on the training scene? Is that what we're saying for 20 minutes?
Yeah, actually, you're right. I just YouTube the training sequence, the montage. It gets me pumped up.
That's a good move.
Wow, on the spot top fives. Okay, that might be a thing now.
Yeah. Frank's top 5. We can have that as a regular segment.
Normally, I'm
See
quite
if-
intoxicated when I do that. So should I start
You
drinking
should start being
before we
drunk
start?
on the podcast.
Yeah, we should.
Okay,
Yeah, we should
okay.
do that. Okay, so we'll get
And then
more
we could
drunk.
have it brought by an alcohol brand. That would be pretty perfect. Maybe Pink Whitney want to sponsor us, and you can.
If
you can
Pink
have
Whitney
it.
would sponsor us, then if it was Frank Duca's top 5
Wait,
sponsored
why is
by
your
Pink
last
Whitney,
name? We're not bringing your last name into this. You can't change the name of the segment. It's Frank's top
And also,
5.
I'm sure that
Oh,
you're
okay.
slurring at the moment, so it's not going to sound as legible as you just made it.
Frank's top 5 sponsored by Pink Whitney. I can retire after that.
Legible, is he's writing it?
Articulate? There we go. Okay. So he writes it.
We're
rolls
really
out.
gonna really change the game. We're gonna have a written podcast.
He's that
Someone
drunk. He's that drunk that he's holding up a piece of paper to his microphone. No, speaking of which, I got a good one for you guys when we move on to like kind of the Goodwood reviews, and I guess so. I got another little kind of elimination one of sorts.
I mean, should we move on to Goodwood?
Yeah, we can. I think it's
Go-
yeah.
I think that's a good point. Yeah.
Cool. What do you got?
Well, we
What
can
have
start
I got?
with.
I mean, Inglorious Goodwood, right? Eddie,
Yeah.
Eddie coined such a good phrase earlier, Frank. What happened?
Once again, I was screwed by Glorious Goodwood. For those who don't know what Glorious Goodwood is, that could sound really bad.
It's a gay bar in Sussex in England.
But yeah, it did not go as well. Actually, it went exactly as planned.
Yeah, no, I think your statement where you just said you did not go as planned is 100% accurate.
Yep, it
The
did
double
not go
negative
as
is
planned.
the way.
The double negative has really
how,
helped.
how it should be described.
So go on, Frank. Give us the breakdown. What's happened?
I had moments. I thought I had some momentum, and then just could never put together a good string. But I will say a lot of the horses that we did tip, even though, I mean, some of them were favorites, they did come through. And we can kind of go through just a few of the quick ones. So like Battleground, I was pretty high on Battleground, and he looked a very good horse. And
Yeah.
I think I had said, if it wins, you could potentially see it up at the top of the market for the Guineas. And I think it is now, right? I think it's favored for the Guineas. So, I mean, the only thing I will say is it's a Warfront colt, and the last Warfront colt that had a great 2-year career for O'Brien and was the favorite for the Guineas was the infamous Air Force Blue. So let's hope it doesn't follow in that.
Air Force One, no?
Oh, Air Force One. Sorry, not Air Force Blue. Air Force One. Yeah.
Is that a different horse? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Frank kept betting on that one, and it never won. It was a really
that
sad
didn't
thing
even
to
come
watch.
close in the Guineas.
Yeah. All the gambling firms were really confused when he kept screaming at them why they won't lay Air Force Blue.
No, they let him do it. They let him do it. It was really sad. Ladbrokes took millions off Frank after he just kept because they would go in, they get a price, and they'd be like, "We'll give you 1,000 to 1," and he was like, "This is unbelievable."
But what about speaking of horses that we spoke about, like Mogul was spoken about? So
Yeah, Mogul did well today. I think there's some jockeys in that race, in particular Dettori, who probably regrets what happened. I think Crowley got sort of mild revenge on him by trying to keep him in after Dettori had done that to him the day before. But I think English King may well be the best horse in that race, and that on another day, given a slightly different ride, I think it probably would have won, which is strange to say because it never looked comfortable. Dettori had to ride it from some way out. So It's not as if it was a horse that was traveling the best but just the fact that it did actually stay and it did pick up towards the end. And in a, what was it, 7-runner field, Dettori still managed to put himself in a position where it was impossible for him to get through.
I don't think you can say it was the best horse. I think you could say it could be just as good as the winner.
No, by that I don't mean that it was the best horse on the day, but I think long term, if they all, we can get to the end of this of their careers and say, okay, English King was the best horse in that race.
Okay,
that's what I mean. I don't
from
mean
a career
that,
standpoint. Yeah,
from a career standpoint, I don't mean that English King looked like the best horse today. It clearly didn't.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. My thing with it was I didn't get why Dettori was so far off when he knew exactly what the other horses were. I mean, they had just raced each other 3 weeks. He knew Khalifa set what it could do. It knew, I mean, Mogul, for the most part in the Derby, stayed pretty well on with English King. It wasn't like English King blew by Mogul on that last furlong in the Derby. So he has to know that it's a decent horse similar to what he's riding. So I don't know why he was content with sitting.
I don't think he had a choice.
Seven lengths
I don't think
back.
he had a choice. I don't think he had a choice.
I think he could have came closer.
No,
I think
because
he could have.
No, because the horse was never comfortable. So to ask it to try and settle it while you're also trying to close a gap, I don't think he's going to be able to do that. So I don't. Like we talked about immediately after the race, I don't have an issue with the fact that he was off the pace, and I also think the other thing that might have encouraged him to stay a little bit back was that the horse traveling the best throughout the race was Al Assi, and it was just the fact that it did not pick up and clearly did not stay that distance. But with 3 furlongs to go, it was absolutely cruising. So there's a world in which if you're Dettori and you're on board and you're kind of looking around and you're seeing a few horses starting to be ridden, you've already got to work on English King, and you see this horse cruising up next to you. There might be that other thought where you think this is the horse I'm really racing against. So being next to it at this stage is not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think if he could have gotten up there earlier, I think he would have. I mean, I guess the unfortunate thing is if you are in the back like that, 9 times out of 10, at least you'll get a clear run on the outside, and he gets really screwed by being behind the main pack and also being blocked in the entire time. So, I guess that's just a little bit unlucky, but it wasn't his best ride by any means. And to me, I think you might be right. I think English King could be the best horse, or Mogul could be exactly what Aidan O'Brien thought he was, and he could be the next superstar. But
yeah. I mean, Mogul in some ways was becoming a little bit of a forgotten horse. I mean, I know it was, high in the betting in the Derby and stuff, but it was kind of following that path that O'Brien horses have sometimes, where they're in 3 or 4 Group 1s in a row at relatively short odds. They never deliver, and then they're sort of retired to Ireland to appear in races at random tracks for Group 2s and Group 3s as sort of a O'Brien second string in a halfway decent contest. So I at least Mogul winning today prevents it from falling into that category, but I'm not going to suddenly believe that Mogul is the superstar it was touted to be a few months ago.
Speaking of O'Brien horses, Santiago Stradivarius. What's the thoughts on that one?
Another race where Dettori somehow managed to get himself in a ton of trouble. I mean, I don't know how in a race of that distance in such a small field, you nearly managed to blow it by just getting yourself trapped in and stuck. And he's lucky that he was on by far the best horse, because Stradivarius absolutely dug Dettori out of a hole on that one.
Yeah, it was a great race, and it was made to be a great race by such a poor ride by Dettori. Made it a thrilling race at the end. I mean, Stradivarius is by far the best horse. The only thing I will say about Santiago is 2 furlongs out, it looked like it was the best horse. It was traveling really, really well. And I did not think I thought it was going to win. And then when Moore asked it to go, it just didn't have that extra gear that Stradivarius does. Like when Dettori asked Stradivarius to go, that horse flies. And Santiago was sitting well, and then Moore asked it to go, and it kind of just stalled a little bit. And maybe over time it'll get a little faster like that once it runs more races at this distance. I mean, it's a 3-year-old horse running up in trip a decent amount, so maybe it just needs to get used to it a little bit, but it didn't have that kick that Stradivarius clearly does, which makes it an awesome horse to watch.
Well, also Stradivarius is, horses like Stradivarius don't come around very often, so it's not a knock on Santiago to say it's not in the same class as Stradivarius. It never will be.
No, you're right.
Because you're not going to have a new Stradivarius every other year. It just doesn't happen. But, I will say episode 1, when we talked about this race, kind of, one of the things that I said was Stradivarius is a horse that knows it's racing and digs deep when it needs to. And that was an example of a horse that when it knew, in a sense, what was going on and it wanted to get to the front and it wasn't going to be denied. And Dettori was lucky because he really made a mess of it. And if he'd just given it a slightly better ride, it wouldn't have demolished the field, obviously, in the way that it did at Ascot. But you would have looked at what would have been a pretty comfortable victory, probably.
And now, confirmed arc trial, if I heard you right after our previous conversations. So we're
they said
down
after,
with Stradivarius.
Yep, they said after the race, Stradivarius will go to the arc. So that's, one more horse. And I think it was cut to 14 or 16 to 1 in the arc betting, which is bizarre to me because we've already seen it race over the arc distance once this season. Admittedly, it was a race in which it was still finding fitness, but it looked awful. It was beaten by miles. And when Dettori got off it after that, he said, this is not a Group 1 horse over 1 mile 4. So I get why they're sticking it in because obviously the owner has always wanted to have an arc horse and this is his chance. So if I were him, I'd do exactly the same thing. It's going to be the final race of its career. It's won everything it can do at that distance. Just to have, I guess it's not going to be the arc you would have hoped as an owner because maybe you'll be there, maybe you won't. It certainly won't be the same kind of atmosphere, but just to have the excitement of having a horse in the arc. I 100% get why they're doing it, but it would amaze me if it won. It would even amaze me if it was sort of involved in the finish. It would surprise me.
I mean, that arc, the more you look at it, and even when they're kind of cutting and stuff like that, like even Fancy Blue, who won 14s, Serpentine Derby winner 12s, and then on top of that you've got Stradivarius, Gaius, Love, Enable. I mean, we're set up for something pretty special there, aren't we?
Yeah, Donegal O'Brien, after Fancy Blue won today, he seemed to imply that Fancy Blue would be going to the Arc weekend, but probably wouldn't be racing in the Arc. So I think we'll see Fancy Blue on Arc weekend, but based off of what he said, it seems like it will probably give the Arc a miss.
And Japan's been cut as well. So I know that you're kind of tipping that horse, but Japan's been cut into 16s.
Yeah, that's just mind-boggling.
Eddie, who gets a better chance, Japan or Stradivarius?
Oh, I'd rather believe in Stradivarius. I'd rather believe that a fully fit Stradivarius now can win. I guess the interesting thing, the thing that's just, I don't know what tactic you should use if you're Stradivarius. I don't know if you know that you've got the stamina, obviously. So do you go a quicker pace in the hope that horses that maybe don't have the same stamina, but if your cruising speed isn't at that speed, you might not be helping yourself anyway. And also you have to factor in that Gaius will probably be in the Arc. So you know that there's going to be a horse that goes 5-6 lengths clear.
Yeah.
So that's so I guess my only thing is when you talk about the race that it did run against Gaius, right? Was that one against Gaius this year?
Yeah, that's when Gaius won by sort of 10 lengths. Or
we just joked on Sam about how not all jockeys want to win races. I'm not saying Dettori obviously didn't want to win that race, but I think if he had a fit Stradivarius, he runs that race differently to try and do something to put him in a position to win versus I'm just going to kind of sit in the pack, run a race, get this horse fit, and see what it can do.
Maybe. I think my bigger, looking at it, I think if I were going into it and I'm Gosden, I think I would set Stradivarius as the horse to stay with Gaieth, in the sense that you don't let it just dominate proceedings and have the race its own way, because as we've seen this year, when that happens, it tends to win.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't happen, it doesn't win. And I would kind of be using Stradivarius tactically to set up Enable. I think if you have the ability to do that, that's not dumb. But
I mean, Stradivarius could win from that position too.
Yeah,
I mean,
what a strange scenario where you've got Stradivarius like almost front running, I guess, for another horse. You know, a horse that's so good, Gold Cup winner, and you've got a front running for someone else. It's crazy.
Yep. Yeah. No, and it's an interesting one because if Stradivarius, obviously Stradivarius is his horse, and at times is kind of, there's doubts as to exactly how good it is because it's racing over a distance where there's not top quality opposition most of the time. If it were then to win the Arc, it suddenly throws itself into a conversation as being one of the greatest horses of all time.
Yeah, it's RP rating or just fly through the
So
roof.
So it's a bizarre situation where you could kind of go from this. Yes, it's an excellent horse, but it's maybe been not racing at the time when it has the most challengers to suddenly, wow, it's in a real class of its own.
What if Serpentine races and wins? We're going from maiden to Derby to Arc winner. I mean, what are we doing with that?
If Serpentine races and wins, it makes the Derby look less laughable. But fundamentally, to me, the issue with the Derby wasn't even just that Serpentine won. It was the way the other jockeys in the race didn't really figure out that they were in a bad spot until it was too late.
Yeah,
that to me is the bigger issue.
I don't think that can even happen in the Arc because you have a horse like Gaieth who will say, you know what, Serpentine, you want to go out? Go ahead, I'll go with you, and I'll smoke you the last 3 furlongs.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I looked at the Derby time splits. So
Eddie, definitely.
I looked at the Derby time splits, and Serpentine didn't actually do anything remarkable. The time splits looked exactly normal going around the corner for a usual Derby winner. Like Eddie mentioned, I think it was just the fact that jockeys behind him didn't realize what was going on and they expected him to pull back. But as far as the time split's concerned for Serpentine, he ran a perfectly normal Derby for a winner. So it just seems that everyone else didn't anticipate it. Maybe they were watching another horse too much. Yeah, it was kind of an interesting stat I saw.
And speaking of times, just as another one of my amazing segues.
Oh, okay.
Tomorrow is the turn of Batash. I guess arguably the fastest thing on turf.
Hate it.
It's 1 to 3, so you're not exactly getting value there. Although I could guess it's like the thing I like to say. It's not like you could go to a bank and get 33% interest, 33% returns in the seconds that it takes Batash to win that race. But
you also can't go to a bank and have the teller say, yeah, you know what, today I don't feel like giving you money. I'm just going to turn and walk away. Which is something Batash.
2008 recession, maybe.
You obviously don't bank at the same bank as I do.
That's absolutely true.
But no, I think, the question with Batash too, you just always have that lingering doubt because it's such a temperamental animal that tomorrow it turns up and it just doesn't want to do it. And it's a little off color and all of a sudden you don't have the Batash that demolishes fields. You have the Batash that cruises and then doesn't really pick up.
So do you think 1 to 3 is... it's terrible to say, do you think it's value? But on that basis, is there something worth backing against so late on? Because I guess we're looking at show prices. Everyone gets the same price at that point. But is it worth like a day before going, Batash is what it is, so there's value here? And even if you lose your money, I mean, are you still getting like value on something early on that isn't Batash?
Yeah, it's hard to say that there's value in anything at 1 to 3. And if you always bet on horses at 1 to 3, you'll lose money. So it's hard to say, wow, that's value. It does have to be said. I mean, it's shortening all the time. So it might go off 1 to 4 tomorrow. It was sort of, 1 to 2 earlier in the week. I don't think I think the price is fair. I don't think there's value there, but the price is fair, and it probably will win in the way that a 1 to 3 horse should. But I wouldn't be put off. I wouldn't say, oh, I would never back Potash at 1 to 3, but I don't think it's.
Oh, I've emptied the bank.
Oh, your bank let you take money out?
Yeah. When I told them that I was betting on Potash, they let me take it out.
And they said, "Don't
don't worry, we'll see 30% of this."
Yeah, you'll be putting 33% of that back in a few minutes.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's one of my all-time favorite horses, and that's including the fact that it has absolutely gutted me twice at Royal Ascot, and it's still one of my favorite horses, just because I love to see just how fast it is. It's awesome to see. Having said that, I heard an interesting thing that last year when it raced in this race, there's speculation that Crowley kind of took it easy on him. It still won, but it didn't win much because the Nunthorpe comes up and they wanted it to be in prime, like ready to go for the Nunthorpe. So they didn't set it off all the way. And basically what this person was saying was, I would not bet the Potash to win by a good amount of lengths, because if anything, if Crowley knows he's got it in it and he's going to win, he'll do enough to win to save it for the Nunthorpe, which is obviously the much bigger race for him and the much more competitive race. So I thought was a really interesting take. I've never really heard of a jockey, maybe in handicaps, obviously, but in a group race to like take it easy on a horse to just win to prepare for the next group race. You got to be a pretty confident jockey on a pretty amazing horse to
Potash set the it's even more impressive at the fact that Potash last year set the course record for 5 furlong. Yeah. So the fact is that the Potash didn't get pushed as hard as it could do, and it still set a course record at Goodwood for 5 furlong.
Crazy.
So that's impressive. So speaking of which,
Sam, I guess you missed the only race you missed, or did you see the Sussex Stakes? And what did you think of that?
Didn't see it. Sadly, employment
Didn't see
changed.
The race of the year.
Sadly, employment prevented it. But you know what? I'm going to leave it to you two gamblaholics to tell me about it.
It's not even about gambling. It was just a great race. Going into it, it was a great race on paper, and then it kind of delivered in the sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you had 2 horses, continuing the theme of talking about horses having trouble in running. You had 2 horses that had an absolute nightmare, and yet one of them still managed to win. So, I mean, I know that after the race, Murphy was just so depressed in talking about Kamiko and how he felt that it was undoubtedly the best horse in the race, that had it not been for the trouble in running, it would have won. I mean, he looked, not to make light of it, but he looked almost suicidal. He was really struggling to talk about it. So, but to me personally, I think the best horse won. I think the turn of speed that Mohathir has is unbelievable, because it almost had to stop at one point in the race and then kind of move out and then pick up again. And the fact that as soon as Crowley pushed go, it just flew. But it was a great race, and I'm sure we'll get to see. I mean, that's the interesting thing. You have so many good milers that now that almost every big race coming up over one, kind of in and around the mile distance, you're going to have some unbelievable showdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a believer. I was a little hesitant. Had one amazing race this year. The other one, I guess maybe it did lose its shoe and not get to full potential, and it was kind of locked in as well. But that was very impressive how quickly it picked up. I mean, it was impressive too on Crowley's part to kind of move 4 horses over in half a standstill and then just hit the outside, and that horse just took off. And I mean, my pick was Circus Maximus, and I can't at all be mad on Moore on that ride because he did exactly, I think, what he should have done. Kept it in the front and waited to see if anyone challenged and hoped that Maximus just dug down and kind of could gut it out, which kind of what that horse seems to do almost in every race. And it did. I mean, Siskin came up next to it, and I thought Siskin was going to pass it pretty easily, and he held off Siskin, but yet, Mohathir was just there on outside of Siskin and blew right by. So, I mean, a very good race, and it's a good, I think, indicator of how good Mohathir is, because Circus Maximus is a very good miler. Siskin, I mean, obviously super highly regarded and was right there as well.
Let's call Circus Maximus good. Let's not go very good.
I think he's very good.
I think Circus Maximus is a consistent performer, and you can just copy and paste what it does, and every time you stick it in a race, it's going to do exactly what it does, but it's not exceptional.
Came second, right?
No, I didn't. Well, very good isn't an exceptional. If someone said you're very good,
we're going to run out of ways. But we're going to run out of ways to describe them, because if we set the bar for very good at Circus Maximus, then the next step up, because I think Circus Maximus is probably at best the third best horse in that race. So, I mean, the real loser from that race in a way was Siskin, because Siskin can't, there's no complaints about the position.
It had a good ride.
It had every chance to win that race. And the fact that it didn't clearly means that it's a good enough horse that it may beat some of them next time out. That's totally believable. But on the face of that, it's, having been favorite at the off, it's never going to be close to being favorite again if a similar field like that. If it was a race with a similar field.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the only thing you could justify was it's the first time it's traveled outside of Ireland, so it's not used to it right now. Maybe next time it travels, it'll be a little more comfortable. Maybe it was uncomfortable. I don't know if it was, but you're right. I mean,
that's the blemish it had on its record right before, is that it went to Newmarket and had troubles in the stalls. But then the new stalls they have to deal with, I think it's purely because of the pandemic, make it more suitable for it, but we'll see.
So where next for them all? Would it be, was it the international stakes at York or something like that? Like, where do all these one-milers go next?
Yeah, I think afterwards they implied that Mohathir will be heading for the Arc weekend, because there's that good, can't remember which race it is, but there's the good race over a mile on the Sunday. So I think likely you'll see Mohathir there. Which guarantees
imagine
these
horses you're going to see. Mohathir, Fancy Blue, Batash usually shows up for that.
Batash will be there, I would imagine,
for this final race. 4 furlong race that they have.
Yeah, for the final race of its career, I guess Batash will be there. Yeah. No, almost every race will have a notable horse in it.
Because then even you've got Champions, Champions Day at Ascot, where you've got those kind of all the group races in that one day. And I'm certain there's a miler there. I can't even remember its name, but it's probably something famous. But
yeah, I mean, the issue with that is Champions Day is so close to the Arc that
it's September, isn't it? It's like mid-September.
Turning a horse out for both of them is often difficult. But no, and I mean, you have to assume, I don't know if Pinatubo is staying in France, but you'd have to assume that Pinatubo is probably being prepared for that same mile race on Arc Day. So even if it's just the two of them, that's another interesting clash, because you could kind of, in a way, Pinatubo is going to be the forgotten horse over that distance for a little bit, because all the talk is now going to be about Mohathir and then Kamiko. And meanwhile, you have, Pinatubo, who had one of the greatest 2-year-old seasons last year, had the sort of blemish on its record at the start of the year, but won again in France and maybe is getting back to its form, in which case, it might return and really show them what it's capable of.
So, right, I got something for you guys. We spoke on the last podcast about Goodwood is a little bit of a different one to other courses, a little bit different. People treat it differently. It's got, a really tight turn in. It can kind of change things quite quickly. So I took a look at the top 10 trainers just curious, just to see like who does well, who gets a good profit and loss. Found out that only one of the top 10 trainers there has a positive plus or minus on their profit and loss. Curious if you can find them. And I will tell you, so this is the stat is the last 3 years of Goodwood top trainers. So this is from today. So I guess you wouldn't, I doubt it changes that much, but let's just say it doesn't include today's racing. Last 3 years, Goodwood top trainers. And you can shout them out. I'll tell you their stats. I'll tell you their prize money, everything. But only one of them.
Should we take a guess? Why don't we start by we take a guess on who we think the top trainer is?
Okay. And shall I tell you the stats behind him?
But can I just ask, is the top trainer, is he sort of a well-known trainer, or is it someone obscure who's raced a few horses at 50 to 1?
Is there a minimum races?
Pretty well known. Okay, I'll tell you what. So out of the top 10 trainers, the minimum someone has had runners is 52.
Okay, so they're all relatively big trainers.
Okay, exactly.
Let's see if we can get the top 5.
I want to guess number 1. I want to go straight to number 1.
Wait. What are we doing with number 1 here? What's the metric? Are we doing by prize money? Are we doing by profit loss?
I thought you're doing it profit loss.
I'm doing profit loss, and like I said, there's only one with you would have made money on his runners.
Bet every horse.
Yep.
Okay. I have who I think my guess is, and it might be miles off, but I'm trying to be.
I have it too.
You've got yours? Okay, let's do Frank.
All right, I'm going to say Mark Johnson.
Incorrect.
Okay, I'm going to say Roger Varian.
Incorrect, and not in the top 10.
Wow. I was trying to be
I'll go. All right, I'll go.
Shall I tell you Mark Johnson? Because you.
No. Can we keep trying? Can we keep trying to get the number 1?
We'll keep doing a blitz. Okay, let's do this.
Okay, I'll go William Haggis.
No, but he is in the top 10.
I'll go Gosden.
No, but he is in the top 10. We're going to say every person, and then we're going to get to...
Okay, let me go. I don't think he's even been training horses for 3 years. I was going to go, he's 50 races, though.
You're going to go for one of the O'Briens?
No, I was going to go like real obscure, like Richard Hughes. No.
I'll go Charlie Appleby.
It's good, but it's not right. But he is in the top. He is in the top 10.
Right, Frank's
all right. I'll say Aidan O'Brien.
No. To be fair, funnily enough, he's not in the top 10.
It's not that funny. It's obvious.
It's Goodwood, right? So shall I start giving you like?
No. I've still got one guess left. So.
But, all right. Okay. Let's do that.
I'll go Clive Cox.
No, and again, not there.
All right, one more guess each and see if we can get it.
Okay.
Oh, I got one. Richard Hannon.
No, but is in the top.
And my final guess, I'll go Andrew Balding.
No, but he is in the top 10.
No.
Oddly enough, as a stat.
How riveting was this to listen to?
Yeah.
Two guys guessing. Why didn't we call the podcast that?
As a stat, Balding has the worst profit and loss of them all. He is minus 64.75.
Nice.
That's impressive, right? 131 runners, 15 winners.
Consistent.
So Mark Johnson, 205 runners, 32 wins, and still has a profit loss of minus £43. So the only one with a positive of £19 is Ralph Beckett.
Oh, that was my next guess.
How many runners has he had?
70 runners, 12 winners, 19 places. Strike rate of 17%. You want to know someone that's super close?
Who has the highest strike rate of the top 10?
Or most wins, either one.
Actually, fairly by about 3% is Charlie Appleby. 23% strike rate.
That's why I guessed it.
So who has the most wins? Who has the most wins?
Mark Johnson. Mark Johnson's had
I knew it.
205 runners in
Yeah, but that's
my
just a
opinion,
number.
Goodwood.
That's just because Mark Johnson has at least as a horse in basically every race at Goodwood.
So do you want
But
to
he
know the
always
other
wins
one
at
that's super
Goodwood. He
close?
always wins.
Well, yeah, you know why Mark Johnson always wins. You have to admire him because he's a trainer who's just like embraced the tactics that he just has front runners almost.
Yeah.
Just like, I'm Mark Johnson. Just every horse I have, just send it to the front, let it go.
So there's one with a minus 93p. It's Willie Haggis.
Oh, that was my first guess, wasn't it?
Yeah. So good strike rates. So Gosden 20.5, Haggis 20. But I just found it interesting when I looked at like who does well at what is considered kind of an erratic race course. That actually out of the top 10, no one does seemingly that well.
Here's the thing: is I suppose in terms of profit loss, it makes sense that Gosden has a pretty high strike rate. But the thing that will kill him is over the last few years,
Favorites.
He'll have had quite a few short price favorites. So Stradivarius winning is not helping his profit loss really. Batash winning
prize money though, right?
Not. Yeah, no. I mean, I don't think he's upset.
Yeah, he's so Gosden is sat on 1.9, just under 2 mil prize money. Next one to him is Johnson at 902k. So let's be honest, Gosden's coming home happier rather than that minus £18 profit loss. But you know what? I thought it was interesting.
You're wrong though,
right?
because Gosden's just been reinvesting all of that into betting on himself, and it has been terrible.
And he's terrible.
£2 million in prize money, £20 million down in betting on his own horses at Goodwood.
What an absolute nightmare that course is, right? But no, interesting stat, I thought. Anyway, when you look
Plus,
at
you'd also have to argue that probably what that means is with a sensible betting pattern on Gosden, because you said his strike rate's 20%.
It's just over 20%, yeah.
Is that in a sense, with adjusting your stake based on which of his horses you're backing, you could probably have been close to profitable pretty easily. Because obviously you would have put a much bigger stake on Stradivarius or Batash than you would have put on, whichever one of his, on a horse that he has racing at 16-1 in another race. And you could also avoid times where he might have two. So, if he's got if there are two Gosden horses and one of them's a Batash, you don't bet on the other one.
Yeah. And I don't know if you want to call this a final thought, but which jockey, profit loss wise, would you really not want to back at Goodwood?
Oh, it's got to be Ryan Moore.
It's Ryan Moore.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Avoid him. He's 104 runners, and he'll give you a profit loss of minus 49 quid.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And, most winners, by the way, last 3 years as a Murphy. So.
Except Chemico.
There we go. Most prize money, Jim Crowley.
Also makes perfect sense.
Anyway, bit of fun, bit of trivia, right? You can sponsor that one as well, listeners.
Yeah, everyone, that's Sam's Corner. If you want to sponsor Sam's Corner, just email us. You can email us at thebigchillpodcast@gmail.com. Any sponsorship requests, we'll literally let anything sponsor us.
Magic City through to Isaac Murphy, don't care. You're on the podcast.
Exactly.
And on that note,
should we wrap it up?
Yeah.
Make sure to follow us on Apple Podcasts. Please rate and review us. Leave us some feedback. And follow us on Instagram.
Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. And we will be on Spotify in 3 episodes' time.
Tell your
friends.
If we make it. But here's the thing is, maybe 2 of us will make it and 1 of us won't. Which one will it be? You have to listen to find out.
Stay tuned.
If we make it.
Yeah, if we make it.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
Yeah.
Cheers.
See you.
Bye.